About 12 hours prior to this narration you're hearing right now, I got to play Fallout 4 for the very first time. Actually, scratch that. I got to play Fallout in general for the first time 12 hours ago. Unless you are including Fallout Shelter, which I played for like 5 or 10 minutes years ago and then never touched it ever again. But my point is, I was completely new to this kind of world. My friend had recommended me this game, and I figured it's free. I can get it with Game Pass Core, so why not give it a whirl? Now, I know that Fallout 4 is very well received. I know that Bethesda is a respectable name in the gaming industry, so as far as I knew, this wouldn't flop, no matter what. The only question would be whether it was my cup of tea or not, but again, I had no doubts that I'd at least have some fun here. What I will be doing is borrowing some footage from my Twitch stream, as well as narrating over my experiences and my thoughts about Fallout 4 in the 60 minutes that I had the chance to experience this game. So, let us begin. First thing I had to do was customize my character, and while that was fun, I was actually pretty shocked in a good way that there was so much depth to this. Obviously, customizing your character isn't as important as, say, in a game like Sims, or Terraria, or Minecraft for that matter. Those games play with the concept of customization. This, however, being a shooter, I wasn't expecting so much depth, so that's a big jump into the green territory already. So we can make him a muscular bastard, a large bastard, thin bastard, thin but muscular bastard, a muscular but large bastard, or a fine line in the middle bastard. Which kind of bastard? Oh, wait. And a thin yet large that contradicts each other. From here, it was just getting used to this new world I was in. I was happy with the colors and the presentation. The graphics are no superpower here, but they don't have to be. It's vibrant, saturated, it feels lively, and for what the game turns out being, say 15-20 minutes down the road, it's a perfect contrast to this lively and beautiful look.
Huh?
Wow, look at you. How'd a girl like me ever get so lucky, huh?
Ooh, who's at the door? Someone's at the door! So when it comes to video games, I'm a sucker for choosing your own dialogue, and Fallout 4 has it! We got our own choice of dialogue. I was super thrilled about that. It's such a small change that takes so much work, but it's so much better to have than to not have because it gives a reason to replay the game from the start. Let's be honest, we're all interested in seeing most, if not all, variations of dialogue. It doesn't matter if it's minuscule or not. It's cool, it's nice, and I'm glad it's here. But let's talk about why this conversation is taking place. Basically, in essence, Big Bomb, inevitable, because you, the player, have served in the military. Your family gets a spot in the vault to take some shelter from it. So, yeah, that's basically that in essence. Also, we get to choose our name and how we want our stats distributed. That was pretty cool. I did not see that coming. Intelligence was my go-to as soon as I heard about experience, and as for charisma, I had no idea how big or small persuading would be, but the fact that there was an entire stat dedicated to it, I figured I'd go with it. Another thing I really didn't see coming is this little piece of footage.
That's worth a little paperwork, right?
For you and Sean, no price is too high.
Good answer.
What a
I
simp.
have my moments.
Sean!
Sean has been changed. You absolutely refuse.
Wait, what the? Did he just say my name? I was completely shocked when I heard that. Apparently, the voice actor for Codsworth had gone through over 900 names in order to make this work, but the fact that the level of dedication was just so high for such a small detail. I love it when games do this, and you have my eternal respect, whoever the voice actor is.
Confirmed reports, I repeat, confirmed reports of nuclear detonations in New York and Pennsylvania.
So as shit is about to hit the fan, you can see this beautiful, colorful neighborhood, so you understand what you are saying goodbye to. This is what you're leaving to the past. And I think it makes for a really tragic but effective impact of just showing the magnitude of the nuclear detonation. Around this time, you understand that the officials are not kidding around when they say that a nuclear threat is imminent, because voila, it happens before your eyes. And it's intense, it's jaw-dropping, although I have to question how these guys aren't filled with all these burns and things like that being that close to the nuke, but I'll let it slide. It was still pretty memorable and impactful. Once we are down in the vault, we are ordered to eventually move to our cryostasis chambers, which I thought was pretty cool. Having us freeze over time so we can eventually wake up in a distant future. I always thought that concept was really cool.
Time for a whole new life.
Resident secure.
Bye, Nora. What? So immediately I'm very curious. For starters, why did they take Sean? Who are they? Are they allies of the people who created Vault 111 and this was just a big ploy? Are they intruders? I don't really know. And what am I a backup for exactly? These questions made me feel like the story was interesting and captivating enough to keep me playing. And while story isn't the most important thing when it comes to playing a video game, it definitely ranks as second or third for me. Gameplay always comes first, but if you want to make gameplay worth that much more, you need a good story to go with it, and Fallout at least keeps my curiosity going. It's not until shortly after that I'm attacked by my first enemy, and, well, that's fun. Let me just take your meat real quick. Thanks, bro. I thought the Pip-Boy was a pretty cool gadget to have in the game, but I would be lying if I said I didn't find it a little too much in one. Now, having not played a proper Fallout game prior to Fallout 4, I don't know if the Pip-Boy was a big part of 3. I know Fallout 1 and 2 were pretty different compared to 3 and 4. But the point is, I just felt like there was a lot going on here that I wish the game would have held my hand through more. But I think I can get used to this. One thing I want to build off of what I said earlier was that before I mentioned that the neighborhood was vibrant and beautiful. However, the stark contrast from being that and becoming a wasteland, a place that is in the past, it's impactful. It's a punch to your stomach. And nobody makes it more clear than Codsworth.
I spent the first 10 years trying to keep the floors waxed, but nothing gets out nuclear fallout from vinyl wood. Nothing! And don't get me started about the futility of dusting a collapsed house. And the car! How do you polish rust?
Since as the player we were in cryostasis for about 210 years, we only have Codsworth to tell us what it was like being isolated from all humanity around you and being constantly reminded that you're just in an apocalyptic wasteland. Playing Fallout 4, I figure that the strongest thing it has going for it is probably its atmosphere. We saw this beautiful land become this deserted, isolated shell of what civilization used to be. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Getting back to the story, however, we are directed to go out to Concord to find some survivors who may know about what happened to Sean. So rightfully so, we head there immediately, but along the way we find a friend.
Hey, boy. What are you doing out here all by yourself?
I was ready to put a bullet in this guy. Being completely honest, I don't have the slightest clue where the dog came from. But, alas, he's gonna be our travel buddy for now, it seems. I don't know if this is a permanent thing, or if it isn't, but if it is, I'm totally okay with that. My run mostly came to a close when I was fighting some very angry raiders out in Concord, and as far as the combat went, against raiders specifically, I felt like there was a little bit more to be desired. Perhaps it's the way that the gun feels in my hands compared to other shooter games that might be throwing me off here, but it just doesn't quite have that oomph for me. And that's not to say it's bad by any means, it's satisfactory level, and I have no problem admitting that, but I just wish it could have felt a little bit more mechanically polished compared to other games out there. Still, as I said, not bad, a minor complaint at most. To sum up my first impression of Fallout 4, I'll list a couple things. Fallout 4 uses its environment and aesthetic to communicate a story more than dialogue. It uses the Sanctuary as a canvas to show you what was of the past and what that past has become now. Bethesda obviously cares about the small things. There's a bunch of care and passion put into this game, and it shows. The story features characters that have the capacity to be cared for, as well as the events that unfold. there are multitudes of ways to become stronger and face up against more powerful enemies as the game goes on. Lastly, I do like the gunplay. It may not be the strongest, but it is still a content level of functional and equally fun. In essence, I did like Fallout 4. Wasn't a masterpiece, wasn't perfect, wasn't top tier, wasn't anything like that, but I wasn't expecting it to be either. But nor did I expect to feel the care and passion that I did. I can see the developers did everything in their power to cover every base in this game and make it as good as possible. Not every twist and turn was perfected, not every twist and turn didn't have at least a bit of a mistake, but that was okay. Because the worst I got out of the experience was, okay, well maybe this part's a 7, and maybe this is a 7.5. It didn't matter about those 7s and 7.5s, because not only are the 7s and 7.5s not that bad to begin with, but what accompanies them is 8s and 9s and 10s out of 10s. There's so much good in this game that the small things don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If I had to score this game out of 10, I'd say an 8.5 would be a fair score. A score that indicates that this game has a lot of its bases covered and almost anything and everything about it is pretty good. Even with a couple mistakes here and there, I'm happily going to continue playing this game. So, thank you to my friend for recommending me this. It was definitely worth the hour of playing and getting to know.